Okay, welcome. So in this today's Bobby London Presents podcast session, I hope to carry out and cover three main areas. So I'm going to do a bit now about channel updates, about what's happening with the channel. I want to then talk about Atalanta and them, winning the Europa League final. And also want to talk about Man United and them beating Man City and winning the FA Cup. So to begin with regards to channel updates, the channel is very much in its infancy and it's starting off, and it's an arena to kind of discuss like my passions. And focus of the channel early on in these early videos has been men's styling and men's fashion, and I want to continue to do interviews with individuals who have expressed themselves in a very unique way, in a very positive way, have really resonated with their personality and been able to showcase that in what they're wearing, and also carry themselves with a level of confidence and really kind of make the audience and the viewers aware of what a big difference styling and getting that right can do for you. So I'm going to continue with that, but there are other areas that I want to document for myself and want to create a community that resonates with those aspects. So there is sort of discussions about boxing, there's discussions about football and some of the lessons learned from that can be applied to one's life, which is how I usually watch sport. I like the narratives, the stories, and taking lessons from it, to be honest. And there's also aspects of music as well, mainly rap music, but there's aspects of music as well that I do dabble in. So I want to be able to discuss that too. So I want to sort of mesh that into and corner that into these kind of like podcast sessions. So those are the some of the updates on the channel, and I would encourage comments as to where you think it should go, where what works well, what doesn't work well. I really encourage that. Now let's move on to Atalanta. So Atalanta has won the Europa League final, and this individual who really had just come on my radar, Lookman, he does go down as an individual who has scored the first hat-trick in the Europa League final history. So there's that. I was I have written some notes here, so I'm reading off some notes here that I've written, so that keeps me in check about what I did love is with this performance is the power and confidence of Lookman, and in all the three finishes I feel as though they were absolutely top draw, and as an individual he totally owned this final, and I'm so pleased for him. As much as a lot of people, even myself, have said, how have Bayer Leverkusen lost this? I think what we've done here, what a lot of people have done here, is sleep on the fact that Atalanta has come from the pedigree of doing a job against Liverpool at Anfield, beating Liverpool at Anfield by the same scoreline, 3-0. So I think for me the lesson there is that sometimes we look very, very short term and we have that recency bias, and just to remind ourselves to not believe in the hype, and sport teaches me that personally, and that I want to take into things that I do, that you can be up one day and down one day, and just because you're down you can be up, kind of thing. Also, this striker is two-footed. He scored with both feet, and that's extremely impressive. Power in both. What else? Yeah, I feel as though as well here, I don't know the full mentality here, but I think a lot of the press was focusing on Bayer Leverkusen, like winning the treble. There was talk of treble everywhere. Easy treble, but Atalanta's in the final now. Treble. And I think it's very important to do the job to do the task at hand. And when you start believing the hype and you start seeing the finish line, things like this can happen, and you see it happen in sport. It's just that that slight blip in focus, or I think sometimes as well, like when you know you have to win, like, oh, by Liverpool you're going to walk through this team, it puts even more pressure on you, and it takes the pressure off the other team, and then the other team can feel a bit more relaxed. And sometimes the relaxed fighter, the relaxed opponent, is the opponent that can be more skillful and be more masterful in expressing their skill. Whereas if you're quite tense and you have to win, and you're already like celebrating the winning. I think that happened with AC Milan kissing the trophy at half time when they thought they could beat Liverpool, and Liverpool came back. So it's like, respect the opponent, and there was a slight disrespect here, slight, more so from the press, which probably the players kind of, it seeped into their mentality potentially. Yeah, and just the main thing here for me is just that never underestimate your opponent here, and this was a really good example of that. Okay, and that's my take on that. Fantastic. Like, I'm a neutral in this final, and it was just superb and just a joy to watch, and so happy for the striker Lookman. He's had quite the trajectory as well. I think, I don't know so much about it, but he used to play in the UK, I think Charlton, and he's had a trajectory by becoming the owner of a final, single-handedly owning that final, in my opinion. Alright, Man United. Man United beat Man City to win the FA Cup. We all know that. And first and foremost, it's slightly a bit of a sore point for me, because I'm a goon, I'm an Arsenal fan, and we did come second. I think we challenged for the Premier League like a proper challenge, like a Liverpool challenge. It's not like coming second place with the team that ran away with it. So we've done well here, and we've had to show a lot of form, blah blah blah. But we do now have a season where we didn't lift a trophy, and Man United have lifted the FA Cup. So there's a lot of talk going around like who's had the better season. I'm biased. I'm gonna say Arsenal have, but again, look, I cannot like disrespect and say that, not say that I would have liked to have won the FA Cup as a fan. So I think we've got to win trophies, but I think as a player, as a team, I think it's okay to lean into that narrative and say, look, no, you've had a worse season than Man United, and that to provide that fuel. And to see how the press now are talking about Man United, the press are now talking about Arsenal's season, shitting on it, blah, blah, blah. It's for us to now get that fuel to go again next season and to say, look, we'll show you. Do that in silent. You don't need to come out and say, oh, we're going to show you. You're going to do that through your actions. And I think that would be the best attitude to have. But some people don't react like that. I react like that, but some people don't like that. Some people want to feel respected as they go through. But I think sometimes a level of disrespect can provide that fuel to sort of push forward. And I think, that might also mean that Erik ten Hag will remain as the manager. He's been torn to pieces by the press, but I think him winning this, I think there is still people are still disrespecting him to a certain extent, but he's getting a lot more support from the fans to keep him in. And the sort of, they did this with Ole, the narrative, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which they gave him that respite by saying, look, it took a few seasons before Sir Alex Ferguson won trophies as well. So they may give him the chance, but we don't know. Watch this space. I'm not so close to Man United here. My brother is a Man United supporter, but I'm not so close to their affairs. I like the fact that, this kind of I think as an Arsenal fan, towards the end of the season, we just saw this bubble that formed around Man City, saying that, they can't lose a game. It's a miracle if they drop points, blah, blah, blah. And now both Pep Guardiola and City showing that they can be beat, and beat in a high stakes game like a final. This is good. And I think I was happy to see that to a certain extent. And they can drop points, and they can and they can be beaten. And I think sometimes in sport, we've got to, okay, all right, I'll skip that point. Would I take the FA Cup over finishing second? Is a question that Arsenal fans are asking themselves, and I would say that I think personally I won the FA Cup, but I like the trajectory and the progress that Arsenal are making. I love it, actually. I don't like it. I absolutely love it. And they've been a joy to watch all season. Also, 2 teenagers scored. And the point I want to take from this is that sometimes as we get older, blah, 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 you realize that there's some players that they have that pedigree of winning. Like some players in Real Madrid and stuff like that, they just own a game and they know that they can win the game. But sometimes the average person getting older, they start to have more layers of fear. And what I'm trying to relate that back to is that 2 teenagers scored in the FA Cup final. So they kind of like, they didn't lay down for Man City. They didn't lay the red carpet down for Man City just to win and just to like lose the game before even playing the game. Just realizing it's 11 men against 11 actual men, and not believing the media hype of these are gods, blah blah blah. Arsenal did it once, when they beat, famous Galacticos, when Thierry Henry beat Real Madrid in a Champions League game. Also, I think another famous one is that Alex Ferguson won the Premier League with what was termed kids. So that's another thing. That fearlessness and not believing in the hype is very important when facing an opponent. Like, for example, the opponent is only as strong as you make them. So if you believe in that hype, then they have a control over you. If you ignore that hype or you don't believe in that hype, you don't want to be deluded. But if you don't believe in that hype and you go more factual basis. Even Conor McGregor against Aldo back in the day, like, if Conor McGregor believed the hype of in Conor McGregor versus Aldo, like that this guy's unbeaten for 10 years, blah blah blah, he's beaten everyone and stuff like that. He's a menace, right? But he didn't. Conor McGregor knew something different. So it's stuff like that. I think believing in your own self. Also, just coming back to the game, I just think that Bruno Fernandes, his assist for the second goal was cold as ice. It was sublime. I think one commentary said it was a miss kick, and I thought, what are you talking about? That's just, yeah. He's so talented. It looked like a miss kick, but it wasn't a miss kick. It was just beautiful. That's all I can say. And I also think two passes before by Rashford was also like so good. I think Erik ten Hag as well, he'll be the first Man United manager to beat Pep Guardiola in the final. So Man United have lost to Pep as an individual, as a manager in his respective clubs of like, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. So, that's also Erik ten Hag can stand on that. And also, I think Johnny Evans as well, as a player, as an individual accolade, has won, I think, absolutely everything you can win at club level with Man United now. He's got that whole collection. So yeah, that's my take on it, on those two things. Actually, thank you for listening. If I would love to hear your take on some of the things I've said here, and your take on Atalanta winning and whether you're happy about that, sad about that. It would have been nice for Bayer Leverkusen to win the treble. Where do you think Bayer Leverkusen went wrong? On the Man United front, is Man United had a better season than Arsenal? What do you think was the main difference between Man United and Man City here? Even though Man City had all the possession, what was the difference here? And yeah, let's continue the discussions in the comment section. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.